welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to do an October wrap-up. So first of all, I just want to say that I know the lighting is shit. Like literally it's so dark in Sweden right now. The time is 3, which should technically be one of the brightest times of the day, but it's not. I really wanted to make a video, but I don't have any studio lighting or anything like that, so this is what we ended up with. I hope it's okay still. I might be able to edit so it looks a little bit better, but I just wanted to say that before I started the video. I also want to say hello again. It's been quite a while since I made a video, or it has felt like that, even though it might just have been 1 week since I posted. It has been some time since I actually filmed the video, so here I am, and now we're gonna do a wrap-up of October. So in this wrap-up I'm gonna talk a little bit about series that I've watched and some that I've finished. I'm not finished all, but generally what I've been watching through October, and then I'm also going to talk about the books I've read in October. So yeah, let's just get started. Okay, so the lighting might be a bit better now. Anyways, this series is the first series that I watched in October, and I didn't watch the whole series in October. If you have followed me on my Instagram, you might know which series I talked about, because I started to watch it in September and then I finally finished it in October, and that series was Game of Thrones. So I actually took this month free thing on HBO, and I had the challenge to finish Game of Thrones in 1 month, and I did it. I had 1 day left or 2 days left, so I was even a bit before it that time. Anyways, so I started season 7 of Game of Thrones in October. The other season I had seen in September. But in general, I thought I would maybe rate the series I've seen as well. In general, Game of Thrones was so good. I know you you have heard that it's so good, so I don't really have to tell you more about it. Either way, you want to see it and you love it, or you have seen it, or you don't want to see it. So that's kind of thing. But if you have been thinking about seeing it like I had before this time, I should definitely recommend you to do it, because it was very good and shocking, and I don't regret it. So I'm very excited for the last season now, and yeah, that was all I had to say about it. Another series that I finished and started watching in October is The Elite on Netflix. This was a series that I saw a lot of people hype about for some time, or it was 2 days on Instagram, and I didn't see that much on Twitter, but I saw people talking about it, and it was on Netflix, and I saw the trailer on Netflix, and I thought that's not really my type of series. It doesn't really look that good. But then when I had finished Game of Thrones, I had nothing to watch, so I started to watch The Elite either way, and then after the 2 first episodes I was hooked. I really loved it. This series is on Spanish, so they speak Spanish throughout the whole series, and I know a lot of people in some weird way really don't like to see series that don't have their native language as a language. A lot of English native people don't like to watch series that they don't speak English in, which for me it's just every series I ever watch is in English, and English is my second language, so I can really relate. But I really didn't mind that this was in Spanish. I just put the subtitles on and it was fine. It was so good. It was very interesting, and it had a bit of plot twists, even though in the core it might not be my story, because I don't really like thrillers and mystery, scary. It was about someone who has been murdered, and it's about that in the end, but the main part of it wasn't about that, which I liked. So even though it wasn't quite my type of series, it was very good, and I think I gave it 7 out of 10 or something. It was a good series, and it was a quick watch as well, so I would recommend you to see it if you haven't, because it was quite interesting actually. Next up, I saw a movie, and the movie was First Man, and I did a review on this on my Instagram. I did I put up a picture and did a full review of the movie. It wasn't that long, but I talked about it, and this movie was very interesting. It was very thorough, I think you could say that. It was really like up to point on what had happened through NASA's history and how they got from the beginning of the Apollos and the I don't even remember the names now, but how they got to send men to the moon, and it was very interesting. However, as a film, it was a bit too long. It was a good film. It followed the astronauts very like closely, like you get to follow all the steps. Me and my sister talked about this and we thought the movie was a bit too long to be an entertaining movie. Just they could have shortened, like the first hour was great and then like the last half an hour, so like they could take out like 1 hour in the middle and just throw that in the trash bin and it would have been a better entertaining movie. Though as I said, I thought it was more like a documentary because it was so long. It was like 2 hours and 30 minutes and it was just 1 hour too much for an entertaining movie. But however, I gave it 5 out of 10 in total because it was too long, like for an entertaining movie, but like the cinematics and the realistic things, like and the actors and all that, I give that 8 out of 10, or I would have given it 8 out of 10 if it wasn't that long. Okay, so I have one series that I have finished watching and then I have 2 series that I'm currently watching, but I can't really finish them because it's like currently going on or I haven't finished the series. But the series I finished was Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So this was a series that got a lot of hype. I saw the trailer, I was like, this is not my type of series. I don't like scary shit. I've like the only scary shit I've seen is like Stranger Things, and I really love Stranger Things, but I'm a chicken. Like I never watch scary movies. I am too afraid, and I had nightmares for a week after seeing the first Jurassic Park film, so that kind of describes how much of a chicken I am. But I started to watch this series because I had nothing else to watch, and I started to really love it. I actually loved the characters a lot. I thought the like whole plot was so hysterically funny because it was like about, if you have not heard about it, it's about a witch named Sabrina, and I thought the like whole funny thing with the series was that the witches were like praising the devil, like they're not on God's side, they were like on the devil's side. And this was so funny because when they had like a church assembly, or it wasn't a church, but you know, like this thing with the devil and the high priest of the dark church, the night church or whatever they call it, it was so funny because he was like, unholy night to you all, and they were like, and to you too. You know, it was just the opposite of what you usually see. My friend actually told me that they talked about this series on Swedish radio, and there was someone who was quite upset because it was like they were talking about the devil in the good way, they were praising him, and that's not good, and you know, stuff like that. But I personally, as a people who are not really religious that much, I just loved the series and I thought it was so funny, and I think that even if you are religious, you wouldn't really mind it because you know it's just a series and they're like ironic. But otherwise, the series was so good. I really love the characters, I love the plot, it was great cinematography, I think that's how you pronounce it, and it was just so funny and I really loved it, and it was not too scary. It was some parts that were a bit scary, but mostly it was just awesome, and I enjoyed it very much, which I didn't think I would, and I'm very thankful for me watching it. Okay, so now I said that I had 2 left that were a series that I haven't finished, but I actually have a third, and I will just talk a little bit about this because this is a Swedish series and most of you probably don't speak Swedish, but for those of you who want to learn more Swedish, or who I don't know, speak Swedish, or who like speak Norwegian, or like I know a lot of Finnish people speak Swedish as well, I really do recommend this series to you if you can find it anywhere. It's called Vår tid är nu, and it's about this family who has this restaurant, and it's just, I don't really usually like Swedish series because they're usually like murder and thrillers and stuff like that, but this series is more like Downton Abbey, the Halcyon type of vibe. It's about just after the Second World War, and it's just so funny, and it's just so good. It's put in such a good way. There are a lot of diverse characters. It's it's just such an interesting story, and I'm currently watching the second season. It's currently getting released each week, so that's one thing as well if you want to see a series who is getting released, you know, each week. And it is just such an interesting series, and so good. Great actors, great plot twist. It's so good. So if you want to see a Swedish series, I really do recommend this one if you can find it anywhere. I don't know really how it works. Anyways, the other series that I have also watched currently is Dynasty, and this series is so good. It's like, in a way, I think it's a bit like Gossip Girl. It's about this rich family and their like rich problems, and I just think it's so hilarious all the time because it's so like, I can relate to anything, and it's just, you know, rich people problems, and it's so much drama and plot twist, and you know, one of those shows who have too much drama that it just makes it hilarious. So yeah, I just really do recommend this series to you if you haven't seen it, and give it a shot. I really loved it, and at first I thought it would be like a weird series, but it's so good. Then I am also currently watching That 70s Show, and I'm on like season 3, so I won't talk really that much about it because I haven't finished it. But this is a series that I started in October, I think, if not in September, I don't know. But it is so fun, it is so hilarious, totally a show I really do recommend. 10 out of 10. It's so much fun, and yeah, I just wanted to tell you that. So, well, this turns out to be a long video, but I'm gonna talk about the books I have read in October now, and those are a few. I don't really know how many. I am checking my Goodreads at the moment to see. I'm just gonna take the books that I started and finished in October, and the first one I started and finished in October was Wildcard by Marie Lu. I don't know if I have done a book review on this. I don't think so. Wait, no, I have not. I thought about doing one because it's Marie Lu and Wildcard, and you know, popular book series, and I thought about doing it as fast as that because I finished it so quickly. I thought about doing it like directly after, because then it would be like still while people was reading it, or was when it just had gotten released and people were thinking about buying it. But I did not, and now I'm not really seeing the point in doing a review. But if you want one, I could do one. As I usually say, I'm not really one of the people who are great at reviews, I think. I'm not really good at explaining like how the book is and stuff like that. So I probably don't think that my book reviews are my best videos, but I don't know. The second book I finished and started in October was The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, and this book is by Mark Haddam, by the way, and this book is a book that we read in school, so it wasn't really my own type of choice of book. The book was great for a school book. I think the most of the books I've read in school are not really that great, but this one was interesting. You get to follow this boy who has autism, and you get to follow it through his perspective all the time, which was very interesting, and not like a book I usually read, which was very learning, and I don't regret reading it. But it was really a special type of book, and I only gave it 2 out of 5 stars, so it wasn't one of the best books I've read, but I still don't regret reading it. The third book I read was Renegades by Marissa Mayer. This was a book that I reread, and it was still as good as the first time. I am so excited to order Arch Enemies, which now is out. I was supposed to order it yesterday when the release date was, but the site that I usually order books on didn't release it yesterday, so I don't know what they're up to, but I will order it as soon as possible, like that I can. This series is 10 out of 10. I love it so much. The next book I read was To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I finally got to read this, and I got to see the movie. Both were great. The book was definitely better than the movie, and I can't wait to get the other books, but that's just kind of all I have to say about it. It was a great contemporary book, and yeah. And then the last book I finished reading in October was Running with Lions by Julian Winters. This book was so good, or it was so interesting to follow. It was good. It was good, basically. Like, I don't really have anything more to say. It was fun to follow like you get to follow a soccer team, which I have not really read about before, and it's kind of interesting as well. I have played soccer for a big part of my life. I stopped playing last year, but otherwise I played for like 8 years, so it was interesting to follow a soccer team because I have not really read soccer books before, and it was a great story with a great message, and yeah, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. But anyways, that was all for this video. I know it turned out to be quite a bit longer than I anticipated for it to be, but I still hope you liked it. If you have seen any or read any of these books or movies or series, please let me know, and let me know what you thought about them. Anyways, that was all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked it, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye!